We got about 3 or 4 inches of snow last night, which isn't too terribly much, but I noticed on the truck thermometer that it said it was 4 degrees out here this morning, and that's perfectly cold enough for that snow to come throwing out of that snowblower in a hurry. There's not enough accumulation that it's going to be slow and go or anything like that, so I should be able to put it in a fairly quick speed and just cook up and down my roads real quick. I've got to get ready to get that trailer dug out and cleared off so that I can get it thawed to get drywall. We're getting real close for that. Well, I got started with the snowblower and almost instantly realized that this wasn't going to go the way that I thought it might. The snow was light and cold, and it was definitely coming out of the snowblower very easily. The big problem was the wind. It kept changing directions on me, and with the snow being light and fluffy, it was blowing it all over the place instead of just the direction it was meant to go. So after stopping 2 or 3 times to clear the camera and brush the snow off of myself, I decided to go the other direction and see if that was any better, going downhill. It certainly wasn't. The wind kept changing directions as it was coming down the hill, and it was just dusting me out. So I said, enough's enough, it's not worth the effort. Well, I blew the snow for a little bit, and it just isn't really worth it. It's blowing it right in my face as much as it's doing anything. But I need the loader. I need to do a couple things. I need to get the bucket on the tractor so that I can come kind of break up this snow and ice pile that's in front of the doorway so that I can pull the tarp off. My Ranger's been dead since the weekend because of the belt. The belt blew apart and we got it towed up here, so that's good, but I need to get it inside, get it thawed out, and try to get that belt replaced as soon as possible. We use that dang Ranger every day to get around up here, so I need to get that fixed. I'm gonna go take the snow blower off down in the driveway because it's kind of out of the way enough down there, but I need room to maneuver. I need to get the trailer up here, so I need the loader on the tractor so that I can use the bucket to get the 3.5 feet of snow off of the trailer. With that cleared off, then I can bring it into the shop and let it thaw and dry out to deliver the drywall. And that's going to be coming up this week, probably by the end of the week. So I'm just going to mess around with that kind of stuff today, and then I can get the Ranger in and get working on that. Put this on and off a time or two, so now I've kind of got it figured out. It's not too bad. I've learned that if I have it hooked on the front and I leave the snowblower raised fully, that I don't need a jack or anything on the back here because it balances. So it doesn't take much effort to pick up this back end. It lifts really easily. So I don't even need the tools. All I need is the socket wrench to unbolt the gearbox to rotate it. And then everything else with it is pretty easy. That lifts with probably maybe 10 or 15 pounds of force is all it takes to be able to lift that and drop it. So it's one hand to do it. It's pretty easy. So now I just start it up and I'll drop it, lower it all the way to the ground, release the clip pins on the front and drive back. And then I can disconnect the hoses and we're done. So it's pretty quick. Hardest part really is that the hydraulics get warm, and then the snow melts into those couplings, and then the tractor cools off and those couplings freeze and they get frozen with ice. And sometimes those couplings are a pain to get loose.
Something that's been broken. Go get lost in a little town. Get dressed up and just drive around. Get both feet on some solid ground. I'm gonna fill this bucket up to the top. Fill this bucket up. I'm gonna fill this bucket up to the top, fill this bucket up. Take a call with an old friend. Get the guts to start over again. You gotta lose to be ready to win. Just enough to fill this bucket up to the top. Fill this bucket up. I'm gonna fill this bucket up to the top. Fill this bucket up. Gonna fill this bucket up to the top. Fill this bucket up. Gonna fill this bucket up to the top. Fill this bucket up. Get it, kid. I'm tearing through the lights till I hit the coast. Watch the sunrise with the Holy Ghost. Taking my time and letting go. I was a child in the Georgia hills. My favorite toy was a tin pail. Turn on the tap and don't let it spill. It was just enough to fill my bucket up to the top. Fill my bucket up. I'm gonna fill my bucket up to the top. Fill my bucket up. I'm gonna fill my bucket, don't let it drop. Fill my bucket up. I'm gonna fill my bucket up to the top. Fill this bucket up.
All right, I got that all dug out. So now I'm gonna brush off the snow with the Ranger, try to get this tarp out of the way and push the Ranger in. I also need to pull that snowplow blade out of there. I'm gonna put it out of the way for now, and I'll worry about fixing it this summer. This is actually the first time I've seen the door assembled. When my friend brought it up, he had it stacked on his flatbed trailer, and it was pretty dark that night when he got here by the time he got up here. And we unloaded it from his flatbed straight into the shop, and they were loaded face down on his trailer. And so we moved him in and set him on sawhorses face down also. But I had no idea what kind of condition they were in, other than I knew they were used. They're just fine. There's some scuffs on the paint and a few things, but we don't really care about that too much because we had every intention of repainting it and changing the color anyway. We'll probably match it to the entry doors, the personnel doors. I think it's great. It's pretty exciting. Now that I've had the door open and I've got the tarp out of the way, with the door fully down, I can see clearly where the daylight is. It's just a little bit. So while it's good enough, I'm going to go ahead and raise it back up to that where it settles. I guess it's about 5 feet that it settles for now. And I'm going to put the door seal on underneath. That way I don't have any of this problem. So I'm going to cut it first, and then I'll raise it up and screw it into place and just have that part done so it's out of the way. That'll give me a little bit of time for this to thaw out some more. Sounds like my tea kettle's just about ready, so I'll pour my tea, let it steep while I do this, and then get onto the belt. The seal strip that the door company was able to sell me is not exactly the same as the one that was on the door that was bent. This one is the one that they stock, and they said that they basically keep this one because it'll pretty much fit any door. It's the same style of seal, just not quite the same shape. I cut it and started feeding it into place and was having a little bit of trouble getting it to feed. After having cut this end, that left a square shoulder in those channels, and that square shoulder was catching on the vinyl as I was trying to feed it. So I had to go grab a file and file off those corners real quick. Once it was in, I pounded down the ends of those channels to make sure that the seal would not come back out. Still just a little bit right there, but a good sunny warm day will warm that vinyl up and it'll set down really nicely. It's just so cold that it doesn't want to flex, staying tall in a couple of spots and leaving a little bit of a gap, but it's just barely. It's only enough that you can see the daylight. It's good for now. Just needs to warm up so that seal will relax and let it settle. Now it was time to get on to the priority project. And I gotta say, this sure beats the heck out of kneeling down in the snow and the mud and the rocks. And with that little bit of positive note, things are about to get a whole lot worse for me. Well, I guess I'm not as lucky as I thought. When it happened, I thought it sounded like the belt had come apart and just ate itself up. But I got the cover off. The cover's been worn open. The belt's actually intact and the belt looks good. But my primary clutch has come apart. You can see my slide button has come out and has cracked the housing here. Just flaked off this little bit, but that's where the button slides. And then this side, the weight has overextended. Overextended and come out somehow. Never seen that before. Cracked the housing here as it came flying open. And on this side, the weight broke right off. And came out here. There's a couple of fracture cracks. Dang. Rather than replacing the belt and being back in order, looks like I get to buy a brand new primary. That sucks. It'll be a lot more expensive. Okay, problem found. The belt would probably be fine. I did already buy a new belt. It's got a couple of chunks missing on the top edge, but nothing in the actual drive sides. No cracking or anything like that, but it's probably one of those things where I already have the belt. I'm going to put a new clutch. I'll throw this guy in the box in case they ever do have a belt give up somewhere. This would definitely work as a get you home belt. Not that we ever leave home with this thing, but dang it. Probably ought to pull my secondary off and look at it too. Looks like I get to buy a secondary also. Probably when the one weight came off, it's chunked into the surface of this a couple of spots, little divots. That'll make the belt slip and it'll tear the belt apart. These pulley sheaths need to be smooth and even all the way up. There's enough nicks and chips in there. That won't take long to tear a belt up. And then right here, there's a dimple going this direction where the fin has broken off on the backside. New primary and secondary. Awesome. That's, I'm sure, when that weight came out, just tore right through it. Well, at least I have a warm, dry, covered space to do this. Guess I'll go look up parts.